You are now entering the Horror Sanctum.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Sanctum podcast, and we are going to do something a little different this week. We are calling this our 100th episode. I know it's technically not because we've done so many side quests, but as far as our counting system, this is number 100. Kind of a big deal. So instead of doing an actual episode on a movie or having a guest, we just thought it'd be fun to look back on what we've done, look back on some of the movies we talked about, some of the guests, some of the fights, and all that fun stuff. So I also asked Kellen, I don't know if he was successful to do a Fast Five for us towards the end. I thought that would be fun. I thought that would be fun for us three to do that. So yeah, stick around for that. But let's just start. Like, do you guys have a favorite episode that we've done so far? Not a guest, but just a movie that you think knocked it out of the park for us. Because I was looking back at some of our episodes. Of course, I'm gonna have YouTube pulled up. That we had some. We started out rough, which every podcast does. We all have different backgrounds. We all had different microphones, cameras. I know I told you guys to wear the same thing we wore in our first episode. Two of you did. TJ and Kellen, good job. John and I did not. John couldn't find his, and I was just like, screw it. If John can't find his, I'm not.
Well, this shirt's still too small for me. It was 2 years ago, and I probably will not reprise this for next year.
You did say your tummy tum was popping out, so towards the end of this episode, we'll get you to stand up. So stick around for that too. So I was scrolling through this week, just kind of looking at our episodes that we've done, and I really think that one of the best episodes we did was Creepshow. Now we did Creepshow with Dr. Green. Now, here's why, and this will probably be a trend for the evening. Kellen hated Creepshow, and we all loved Creepshow. It was that nostalgia that we all had for it. Kellen didn't have it because you watched it for the first time when we started recording. Is that right? Is that your first official thing?
Yeah, I watched it specifically for our episode.
So in parts of reminiscing, you think about the good, you think about the bad. So let's reopen that wound. Tell us and everybody else, what was it you didn't like Creepshow?
It was just so mid. I think it was the shake your head all you want, John. This is my opinion. I think it was built up so much. It's so revered in the horror community as this, awesome classic anthology, and then you watch it and you're like, well, this is garbage. This is what I imagine sci-fi would have put on if they were still on the air. I don't even know if sci-fi exists anymore. If sci-fi was in the 90s, this is what they would have been cranking out. That's the quality of it. I remember
you didn't say anything that harsh. Like that's not something we've heard before. That's backfired.
That's not saying anything terrible. Sci-fi put out some fun garbage. And
Frankenfish.
I mean, Sharknado took the world by storm, unfortunately. Pun intended. but I think it's one of those things that gets built up and you never watch it. Now, the only time I can think of like truly where something was built up, and then I finally watched it and I was like, holy crap, this is the hype, was Tombstone. And I've seen it again since then. That movie deserves all the hype that it got. Creepshow, it just felt underwhelming. Like the moment I started watching it, I was like, okay, the acting's mid. I mean, except for the one with Tony Danza and
Tony Danza.
Not Tony.
What?
Not Tony
Danson.
I'm Ted Danson. Yeah.
Get your 80s sitcom characters.
Tony Danza would have made it better if he would have been in this. If he would have been in this,
he would have danced better than Ed Harris.
The Ed Harris dance is iconic for the wrong reasons, but I mean the acting was just very amateurish. It felt like it was just kind of pieced together with some ideas that just weren't fully fleshed out, and they wanted to make a movie. So yeah, it just didn't have that nostalgia for me because I didn't watch it when I was young, and then it was so built up that when I finally did watch it, I was just so thoroughly underwhelmed. I just didn't enjoy it.
This was a mistake, guys. I apologize. That reopened some wounds for me.
I liked it better than Abigail.
We'll probably get into that too. So I think over this is season 2, season 3. This is season 3 starts next week, right? So, over their 2 seasons, we've seen this persona develop for Kellen. He's become this villain because he likes to poopy on things, and some things deserve to be pooped on. We've all done it. John was kind of that villain for a while, and then Kellen's like, no, fuck it, I'm taking it and I'm running with it, and he did. Abigail was the first like true sign where I'm like, something's changed, like he's turned heel, like by God, like he's got a chair. So Kellen, you hated Creepshow, you hated Abigail, Halloween Ends. What movie have we talked about that just did it for you?
I mean, like if we talk about like, I mean, you can go with the classics, the easy ones, the Halloweens, the Faculty. But like of all the episodes we've done, I think my favorite is still Clint Howard because it was so surreal getting to talk to such an iconic actor. And I don't think you can classify him as anything else. I mean, he's been on every end of the spectrum. He's been in some bad B movies, some amazing A-list celebrity films. He's been in classic television and everything in between. And so when it was brought up that we got Clint Howard, that he was going to come on the show, I was like, you're all liars. And then I saw him and I was like, oh my God, like that's Clint Howard. Like, I mean, of course, growing up, I'm being more of a comedy fan watching the Austin Powers movie where he kind of does like a spoof of his role from Apollo 13. That was the first thought that popped in my head, and just him being seriously silly. But yeah, that was my favorite, just because it was so much fun. And honestly, if we're talking about movie reviews, the Abigail one is probably one of my favorites because of how disappointed all of y'all were.
Oh my God, it's like on birthday or Christmas, and you're opening up your presents and you're so excited, and it sucks. That's what happened. You were socks for Christmas. Clint Howard was great. I toot my own horn for that one, and you and I have seen him once or twice, and he knows us, and he's so kind. Him and his wife are like, that's one of the most fun podcast interviews I've ever done. His wife is like, he's serious, like he's telling the truth, like we've listened to it, blah blah blah, we listened to it on the way here, yada yada yada. So that meant a lot too, because I think the only one who's really said that is Berryman at the end.
And he did free publicity for our Instagram when we were doing Instagram videos at Scarefest last year.
Yeah, and
most people were charging for those.
Mm-hmm. He's so scary, but so nice. Like he comes off so intimidating, but he's just a sweetheart. That was one of my favorite interviews too. And yeah, I guess Abigail probably is one of our better episodes just because of the contrast we had. But those were fun. What about you, TJ?
Well, I was just looking through the list, of which it takes a while to scroll through the list on the podcast feed, but I was noticing, because we did start out very differently. Like we were shooting the way a lot of people do with the grid format. We weren't using the speaker view and taking up the full screen. So, depending on how many people we had, I think it was like a dozen or more episodes in before we started really utilizing the space and the speaker format. It was only 9 shows in before we started doing this hybrid format where we started doing interview shows. Does anybody remember who our first interview show was and what episode it was?
Was it Honey and Brian Parkinson, or was it Mick Strawn?
It was Mick Strawn. It was our 9th episode. That you have me and John to thank for that, because we went to
The Curse.
What movie did we go to that had a debut of
it was
something?
Nightmare on Elm Street 4, but the debut was like another movie they ran.
It was like a Christmas movie that we just saw the tail end of the Q&A for.
Yeah. It wasn't it was interesting. I'll say that. I won't speak ill of it. But it was an interesting film.
Well, we almost had another guy from Nightmare 4 and 5 on.
Yeah.
It was very nice when we were peeing together in the restroom. But
yeah, he was like staring. Yeah. Oh, well.
But once he sobered up, he would not return any messages or ever speak to us or acknowledge our existence ever again.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Mick Strawn, he doesn't listen. And, we can be honest. It's fun to be truthful. Mick Strawn was a lot. right?
Yes.
He's a big personality. He didn't like to let us finish our sentences, but he's done a lot of great work. We are thankful that he was our first guest, even though we kind of make fun of it sometimes because he's probably top 5 worst guests we've had.
He's a mad genius. Crazy.
He's right. Yeah. Well, he's mad.
He's a good one to kind of, not to be gross, but to bust your cherry on interview style. Like if you had to do one, at least it's somebody that's going to be able to like carry the conversation themselves until we could kind of get our feet under us.
Gross.
Right.
I think he could carry, the whole he just kept going and going. I mean, and then he wanted us to play the random animated video that he later showed at FrankenCon, the same video.
Mm-hmm.
That was so proud of it.
Which he thought I could do that live and perfectly edit the audio and everything in real time, which was not possible.
Sir, we're doing this from our own houses. This is not a professional podcast.
Right. I did.
We don't have Joe Rogan's producer on the side pulling.
I did fit it in after the fact. Once I was able to pull up the file, he emailed me, and it's in the YouTube version, so you can see that whole little thing play out in the middle of that show at some point.
Real quick aside, I was doing what TJ did and I was scrolling through and I forgot that we watched The Strange Thing About the Johnsons, and I still curse you, Jay, for bringing that to my attention and making my eyes witness
that's one. That was one of our earlier TikToks, like original TikToks, because
it was our one and only Sanctum Shorts.
Yeah,
for good reason.
And it was just because I had watched that before. If you're not familiar with it, it is on YouTube. It was Ari Aster's film from college, I think. If you're familiar with Ari Aster, you know he's a little fucked up. This is the most messed up thing he's ever done. It's like 12 minutes, maybe. I saw it because I loved, everything else he had done. I'm like, I'm going to check this out because I had heard stories. It's kind of like a Serbian film. Or Battle Royale, movies that you heard about, and you're like, I have to watch Faces of Death, stuff like that. This was one of those. I'm like, I have to check out because he was doing a speech somewhere and someone raised their hand and he's like, you have a question. He's like, are you okay? To Ari Aster, like, are you okay? Because some of this shit's messed up, bro. Anyways, I wanted everybody else to watch it and suffer like I did. So we did it. And I'm happy about it. You're welcome. You're all welcome.
That is one of the more messed up things I've watched.
Not me.
Well, I mean,
me.
Right. I kind of liked it once Jay started. Well, I don't know if anybody else has ever kind of figured this out other than us, but at some point after we started integrating interviews in, Jay started doing this kind of rolling 3-week schedule, which it probably hasn't always worked out perfectly, but where it would be like we do a random movie. Sometimes we'd pull it from the bucket. Sometimes it would just be something that's more recent and current in the conversation. But then there would be something with a guest, where usually like a guest who is also involved in making movies or making music, something in the entertainment business will come on and they'll usually submit several options for films, and then we'll vote on which one it is, and then we'll just watch one of their favorite films with them, and we'll just do like we normally do, but with said guest. And then there's the straight up interview shows, which sometimes those go more like career retrospective type things. Sometimes it's more whatever they're wanting to promote at the time or whatever's on their mind at the moments kind of thing. Those are, your mileage may vary based on the guest. And we've had some pretty epically good ones and some ones that were kind of like, I don't know if we'll have them back, but
Well, and because of it, we've got several friends of the show now.
Yeah.
That pop in.
Also true.
So that's not thanks to me, that schedule. That's thanks to OCD.
Thank you, OCD. OCD worked for me. Like, hooked on phonics. Yes, honestly, some of my favorite things have been when Kellen and John really get into like shitting on things, or like if Kellen is really opposed to something and it's like one of John's favorite things in life, which often it's almost like the opposing ends of a battery. It's like it just happens to work out that way. It's like Creep Show is one of my defining moments of my identity and my DNA, and it's like, it's mid. It's not great. Tony Danza, what?
Ted
That's just
Danson,
great.
Tony Danza, they're the same person.
Right.
This was an actual conversation with somebody, and I won't name them, but they're very into films, and y'all might know who they are. And they were talking about the show, and they were like, "Oh, some of the movies you reviewed," and we were like, "Yeah, we reviewed Creep Show," and they were like, "Well, everybody loved that, right?" And I was like, "Well, everyone loved it except one person," and he was like, "The original Creep Show, 1982, they didn't like it," and I was like, "No," they were like. They literally sat there for like 30 seconds staring at me, and I was like, I know. So I won't reveal their name, but yeah. So
I'm very curious now. You have to tell
Yeah.
us offline.
Off there.
Text us now, you fiend.
I'm just looking through the feed, and there's probably like 4 or 5 shows I haven't been on. Most of them more recently, since I took a new job in this past year, and sometimes my schedule's wonky, and with other people and guests in particular, sometimes just trying to keep this going as a weekly thing. When we started out being a bi-weekly thing, sometimes we can't all be on some. And I think John's missed some, Kellen's missed. I think Jay's the only one that's been on every show. I think. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, I got to take care of my baby.
Right. So there's like 2 movies y'all have reviewed that I've still not seen the movies. So I haven't even listened to those yet until I watch the movies. I haven't seen Trap yet. I haven't seen Long Legs yet. I think that's the only 2 that I'm behind on. I think in terms of guests that we've interviewed, the only interviews I haven't been present for was Matthew G. Taylor, who played Nemesis.
That was a good one. He was
Evil
fun.
Dead.
it was good.
And Giant.
Yeah, I listened back to that one. He seemed like a nice guy. And what was the other one I wasn't here for? Lightning Guy.
James
Yeah.
Pack. So
Yeah.
oh man. So sidebar. That one of the most frustrating things, and this kind of pivots back to our schedule that we came up with. We grew a lot faster than I thought we were going to.
Yes.
Like this was set up to be a way for us to talk about movies that we like of the horror genre. I watch movies all the time, and I don't have anybody to talk with. So we can even get to the origin of the podcast later too. But then we got an interview. Then we got another one, and they got bigger and bigger, and it just kind of snowballed. So TJ, you and I were the kind of doing double duty on the booking the guests. I've now pretty much taken over full time, and it has become a nightmare. And part of the reason it has is because we went too fast. And I said it. I know I said it in the group text. I'm like, I just worry that we're doing every other episode interview, every 3 episodes interview. We're burning too fast, and we weren't because it has died down. I have a lot lined up. It just wasn't able to do it this year. Some pretty exciting ones. But anyways, one of the more frustrating ones, and I know John and I have talked about them off air. James Lightning Pax from Big Trouble in Little China was wonderful once we fucking got him. However, that process was like the beginning of the end for me. Like, I don't even want to do this anymore. Like, no more guests. We're just going to talk about movies. I don't give a shit.
Like
He was
originally,
so frustrating.
I think we had already had a date, and it went right up to the wire. I was going to be able to be on that show, and then it changed last minute, and then I couldn't be on the show.
Yeah, this was the first guest where it got to the point where I said, "Fuck it, whatever he says, we'll make that work." And that's when that kind of switched from, okay, when are we all available? Because there's going to be times we're not all available. So if I get a text from Barbara Crampton, she's like, "Hey, I want to come on the show next Thursday, 2 p.m." Not all of us are going to be able to make that. You be sure as shit I'll be there. But the James Pax thing, I started that whole process because it's one of John's favorite movies. And I'm like, I really want to get him on. I try to get every member of the Sandlot on for Kellen. It hasn't happened. I try to get Garth Brooks on for UTJ. It hasn't happened. But
He's too busy hiding the
happen.
bodies.
You make
I
that
wanted to
happen.
get him
I'll
on.
be making some Halloween 3 towards the end faces there.
Well, they're moving to Ireland soon, apparently, so he can get away from those sexual assault charges. But I digress. I wanted John to talk to James Pax. I didn't give a shit if I was there at that point. I didn't care who was there as long as John was there. So that's kind of started that process where, sometimes we're not going to be there. It sucks. Michael Berryman was another one. I was the only one on that episode because I had tried and tried and tried. And he finally said, okay, tomorrow, 2 p.m. What? Unfortunately, I'm in a position where I even told my boss, I'm like, hey, this actor, you've seen him? Yeah. I'm going to get to interview him, but I have to leave work. So, okay, go. Thanks. Congratulations. So we did that one. I did that one solo, but booking has gotten a little frustrating, and it's just because everybody's busy too, and I don't want to be a bother. So like Felissa Rose is someone we've been talking to for well over a year to get on. It hasn't quite clicked.
Well, her thing is like she's traveling. We typically have kind of leaned into recording on Thursdays more often than not when it's just us. And she's always traveling on Thursdays because literally every weekend she's either filming a scene in a movie or she's at a con or both.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's going to be another one where she's going to come back and say, I can do it this date, this time. It's okay. Like, can you guys do it? You can't. Okay. Sorry. Like, I'll be there alone or it'll be to us. But that's okay too. That whole process, like you guys don't even know what can go into some of that. And some people are so nice. Here's my email. Here's my phone number, but you can't guarantee they're going to respond. So we do have a lot more guests coming though. I have a few I mentioned off air. I don't want to spoil anything, but
there's one I'm really super sad about. It was FrankenCon the year before last. I'd really connected with Jeff Burr. He was like my spirit animal, and he agreed to come on the show. We swapped info. He gave me a whole bunch of free posters and shit. And then he died like 6 weeks later, which was tragic at the age of 59.
That was a plot twist and a half there, TJ.
Right. Well, see, we all knew that. We already knew that. You didn't know that. That's why it was a plot twist for you. Yeah, he was great. Yeah. He was super nice. He gave me a poster too, Pumpkinhead 2. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did a video for us. Yeah, he was super nice. That would have been a fun one. But anyways, there will be more guests coming. We'll get back to that pattern that my brain loves so much. So,
right. I don't remember what the question was. Was it still
John favorite episode?
Least I could tell you least favorite first. I don't know least favorite episode, least favorite movies. I think it's probably got to be Death Game, that 70s movie that I just fucking hated so badly, where the two girls like basically torture the guy, and I thought it was so bad. And then because of the hype around it, Talk to Me. I just hate that movie so badly. It's just so overrated. Like, I don't know why. That just sticks in my head of like what I dislike. As far as like though, it's probably a tie between first one is George Hardy, just because it's hilarious to get George Hardy on. And the fact that he was on like a houseboat, he was having a good time, clearly. It was like he was just having a lot of fun talking about the movie. He did quotes from Troll 2. He's exactly who you would think he is, right? He's this guy, and we're talking to him, and he's in Alabama on a lake houseboat just having fun on like a Thursday night. It's like exactly what you would think George Hardy in your mind would be.
Unfortunately, his connection was terrible, and I had to really do an edit job to make that make any sense.
Yeah, he's a trooper. But yeah, it's unfortunately, I think probably he was in Alabama, the connection. He probably didn't have something great. The other one I would say is probably Blair Witch Project, just because that kind of represented the epitome of this show where it's like a split. Like some of us loved it, some of us hated it. The guest, one of them liked it, one of them hated it. It was like everybody, you saw the entire gamut of everybody's personality in that episode of like what we're like. And it's hard to find a movie that splits like that so well. So that's the one that sticks out in my mind. And that was just such a funny episode.
To me, I don't think I said my favorite, but that's my favorite episode because I don't think I laughed any harder than I did.
That was 100% the most fun we've ever had doing one. 100%.
Which episode? I ADD'd out trying to find my list.
Blair Witch.
Oh yeah.
With the Iron Roses.
Yeah, that was good.
Natalie. John Harrison's one we overlook a lot. Harrison was a damn good.
He was a very good, serious interview, but a good interview.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
George Hardy was a lot of fun too. That was a fun one to get because Troll 2 is so infamous amongst horror fans, anyways. We even had Scuffle Moss, his only appearance on the show so far.
Oh yeah,
hang out for that one. Okay.
No, he he come in on our second Halloween show.
Did he? I think I'm right.
Was he on
with Vito for
Halloween
Halloween 2?
Was
he
he?
popped in for just a hair, I think.
Yeah,
Didn't
but
he?
he was in the George Hardy one too because he is a troll.
Yeah,
So
he
had to
was.
be on Troll 2. But
that makes sense.
Excuse me.
Kellen had mentioned, I think Kellen mentioned about the relationships. We have made a lot of great relationships. If you asked me like years ago, like I would have the people in my phone book that I have. Like I was looking back, like Clint Howard, Ari Lehman, Honey the Mail Girl, Felissa Rose, like all these people, I have their phone numbers. And I'm like, it's Brian Bremer. We love you, Brian.
Brian and Felissa are attached to a film that I have written since doing this podcast and is with a production company. And one of these days, by God, we're going to make that movie. And it's basically about us and our podcast. So,
and we're all going to play ourselves, but I'll be Ray. John will be
Ron or something. Yeah.
Kellen will be Ellen.
Ellen.
Gender switch for the movie. What's some of the who's been your favorite guest? You guys have a favorite guest? And it's hard to play favorites, but we can be honest. And like this was, a great conversation. This was, someone who we've made a relationship with that we want to hang out with all the time. Any of those guests particularly stick out for you guys?
well, Vito's not even really a guest. He's like the fifth.
Vito's family.
Vito's
Vito
fifth
is
member.
I mean, that even sounds right to say, doesn't
Vito's
it?
fifth
Vito is
member.
family. I want to kiss him on the cheek. Yeah, Vito's family. Vito is beyond.
He's the fifth Beatle to our horror.
Oh yeah. I
So
feel like
would that make
Adams.
Lena our Yoko Ono?
Oh God, no! Don't do that. How dare you? How dare
Wow.
you, sir?
I mean, she's kind of the other person, I think.
Yeah, but she's not screaming into the microphone to the side to the point where you have to cut it off because Chuck Berry's side-eyeing her so hard while he's playing with John Lennon. That's a very specific reference, and if you get that, you spend way too much time on YouTube, just like me.
Wow. Wow. I think the Adams family were really cool. Like
Yeah,
they were
super fun, too.
they were really nice people and just really in the movies, and you could just tell they lived it. They had such a unique passion. So
And I think they enjoyed the interview too.
Yeah, I think there's people you talk to and you're like, he was nice, but was he really nice? Like I think they're probably some of the nicest people on the planet. That was a good get too. Like if you're not familiar with them, you should be. And I guarantee you've seen something of theirs in passing. You just didn't pay attention. But they make fantastic films, and it's a family thing, which is why they call it the Adams Family.
I forgot Ari Lehman was a good interview. I was surprised. I did not expect that to go as well because he was traveling. He was in a van, terrible internet connection, high as a kite. He was so much fun when he got on, and the stories that he told, and he was so energetic. And that was one of those ones where I was like, it's going to go one of two ways, and it went the best way possible. And seeing him again recently at your show was so fun because he's the same all the time.
He is a showman. He is a showman. TJ?
You know who else was a really fun, I think one of our better interviews, who was just a charming gentleman, was Nicholas Vince, who played the Chatterer
he's
in
very
the
good.
Hellraiser films. I mean, who would have thought the guy who doesn't talk and just chatters his teeth in these movies is such an eloquent speaker and writer and done all these cool things and just very well spoken. Long time friend to Clyde Barker, great stories. And Kellen
Update.
showing Scuffle Moss.
I did find Scuffle Moss in which episode?
Halloween
Troll
2.
Trolls 2. He was with
Well,
the George Hardy
Take the
interview.
S off of it, heathen.
I didn't see him, and I scrolled through Halloween 2 and didn't see him. So.
I thought he was on the beginning of Halloween.
Maybe
2.
not. I don't know.
That
didn't
could
see
be a
him.
Mandela effect. Maybe I skipped dimensions. It happens.
It's a Trolldella effect.
Let's do this real quick. And just you gotta be quick. Just say chat or pass or yes or no. I'm gonna go through all our guests, and by guests I don't mean friends of the show. But celebrities have been in movies, directors, all that. Tell me if you would talk to him again or if you wouldn't. All right, we're gonna go through the whole list.
Okay.
Now, I've missed several of
Are
these.
we doing this all at once, like everybody?
Yeah, all at once is fine. Unless y'all are going to be like looking at each other, and then someone eventually say pass.
Gotcha.
We'll just say what comes to your head. Lindsay Crane.
Yes.
Chat. I missed her. I was
Chat.
She was fantastic. She, her and her husband have been posting the how to come their new movie about the Book of Monsters. It's going to be released next month in the States, so keep an eye out for that. She was wonderful. She tuned in from England as well, so that was fun. All right, next we're going to put these Honey the Mail Girl and Brian Parkerson.
I would say chat because I wasn't on that one, and she's been delightful in cons when I've seen her. So
okay.
I recuse myself from that answer.
I'd say yes. I mean, Brian's a nice guy. Yes.
Yeah, Brian's nice. I really wish he made the Nosferatu movie. That would have been just amazing. I think about that every day.
It's right there. It's the perfect name for a Knoxville based.
It lives rent free in my night. Nathan Basil or Bazell.
Pass. The guy was weird, man.
He was nice, but he didn't seem like he wanted to talk. But he took the time. But yeah,
that was one of those like I thought he was going to be like his character and could not be further from his character.
Yeah, he's like a theater dude. Like Kellen.
I'll say chat. I mean, I think once he warmed up, he was fine. I think in the front end, he was hesitant because he didn't really know what we were after, and then we realized we just wanted to chat with him. He loosened up and was fun. So yeah, chat.
Yeah,
Mick Strong.
Hard pass.
The big no.
I would interview his dog if he wanted to come on.
Yes.
That's why his dog is so quiet because he can't get a bark in edgewise.
But
Catherine Mary Stewart.
Yes, chat.
Yeah, she was lovely.
And with them, Bob Heckman and James. I think we've already talked to Bob again.
I love those guys.
Yeah.
John Brennan.
Yes.
Oh,
I didn't get to talk to him, so I definitely would like
to.
You weren't on John Brennan?
I've messaged him on like Instagram, but I wasn't on the show.
All right, we'll get him back. No problem.
I think he might be trying to start something. I don't know exactly what, but I would look out for him in the next year.
Yeah. Kellen?
Yeah, chat. And go check out his music. It's insane.
His music is great.
Lena Scissorhands. She was our Shining girl.
She was fun.
She was a lot of fun. And she chat with her again. Loves The Shining. That was like the best part because you could just hear the passion in her.
I missed that one, so I'll recuse myself. And I've still never seen The Shining, so.
Fucking A. No, we can't. Matthew G. Taylor or Nemesis from Resident Evil.
I wasn't on that one, so I would chat.
We probably got everything out.
Yeah,
he's a nice guy.
Just because there's not much else.
Yeah.
The opposite of Clint Howard, Butch Patrick.
Pass.
That was aggressive.
I would say chat. I mean, Butch is a nice guy. I don't know. Yeah.
Kellen?
I wasn't on that one.
I
wasn't impressed though when we saw him at that con and he had no idea who you were.
So that's what I mean by the opposite of Clint Howard. Clint Howard remembers me every time he sees me.
I also had like an offline chat with him about something and he was not receptive. I forget what it was, but I also, wrote that little cool as shit song. What was it? Eddie Monster's cool as shit little jingle thing I wrote. And he didn't want to share that out or do anything with it. So
hey, listen, if you're listening out there, that's going to get you on our shit list. Is not sharing. Okay. Sharing is caring. Butch Patrick, Eddie Monster. I probably would again, but I like Kellen touched on, I saw him a week later and he didn't recognize me. He didn't remember. And that could just be his head. I don't know. Brian Bremer, clearly, whenever he wants.
He's family.
Wants.
Yeah.
George Hardy.
Chat. Yeah.
John Harrison. I think we'd bring him back. For sure.
Yeah.
And he's still working. He's still directing like creep show episodes. Stuff.
What about this one? I don't know. Clint Howard. Will we have him back?
1,000%. He said he would come back on, so he better.
He talked about Ice Cream Man too. Whenever they get that greenlit, so
yeah,
nice.
I'm there for it.
Bradley Fowler.
He's just my bud.
Family.
He's just buddy
cool.
now.
Yeah.
Writer of Slaughterhouse. If you haven't seen it, it's on Hulu. Travis Ayers. I consider Travis.
Good guy.
He's good, dude.
Nathan Gray, and I'm sorry, I think it's Natalie Gray. I don't have it in front of me. And Becky Fontaine. They were the Blair Witch.
The most hilarious.
They're cool. Yeah,
most hilarious episode we've done.
Definitely
anytime.
chat.
Yeah,
check out their band, Iron Roses. They're fantastic and fantastic people. Ari Lehman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, chat 100%.
Chat.
Magdalene Rose.
Chat. She was cool.
Yeah,
we just
she had the same George Hardy problem. Bad internet.
I didn't meet her, but she seemed nice. Yeah.
Frank Farrell.
No, pass.
No. I don't think I was on that one.
You didn't miss it. You didn't miss a damn thing. Brent McCorkle. I think we'd have him back on.
He's cool.
We would. I don't know if he'd come back though, because he told me privately he doesn't like shitting on movies because it's too hard to make movies, and I get that stance.
Yeah. What movie did he talk about? Was he The Ritual?
The Ritual, which
thanks,
John
Kellen.
hated
Thanks,
so
Kellen.
much. And Kellen.
Oh, he probably was mad we hated on it, wasn't he?
Nick Morris. He wrote Becky.
Oh, he was cool. He's a nice guy. Yeah,
He's a
Yeah,
nice guy.
he was.
I don't know.
He was in Canada, wasn't he? Was he in Canada?
He was.
I don't know. He had the Canadian thing though, where it's like, I don't know how much more we could get out of him unless we're talking about another specific movie he does or something, you know?
Yeah, he was quiet. What about the Heebie-Jeebie Boys? They were
I
fun.
enjoyed that movie. So chat for me, those guys were super nice.
Yeah, I remember them now. Yeah, chat. They're cool.
I liked them. The movie wasn't for me, but I liked them, and I would be here for something else they do.
Very
Justin
nice.
Beam. How you say his
very
name?
cool.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah,
super
nice.
cool.
I
I
want his
follow
job.
him on Facebook now.
I want his job.
Yeah, for sure.
Him and Michael Felsher.
Robin Sidney, of course.
Yeah.
Robin has become
Anytime.
family. Mike Mendez. That was another great interview.
He's a really cool dude.
I missed
That
that,
was
one
the
too.
infamous
Yeah.
one where
so tell
I asked a
Kellen,
question.
tell your Kellen story.
Yeah, that was so I hadn't seen any of the movies that he had done. And Jay presented me with a list and he's like, you should do this one because I'm gonna ask questions about these. So the one movie, I don't remember the name of it now, and I'm not gonna say it anyway if I did because it's redacted from the history of the show. But the one movie I reviewed, he absolutely hated that he had any part of, and it was a whole studio ordeal. And
I remember that you talking
Oh,
about
the Dolph Lundgren movie, and we had to read that.
No.
no, it was the one with Henry
Rollins.
Rollins.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I remember this.
It was
now,
the vault, Ghost in the Vault, something vault. It had something to do with the vault.
And
sorry.
I was like, and I watched it. I didn't hate it. That's what
Yeah,
was
I
crazy.
had
watched
to
it. I
edit
didn't hate
out
it. And
like
he was
a
like,
whole story
I
out
hate
of the
that
show.
movie.
Mike Mendez was great.
Yes, he was.
Nicholas Vince, we've already
Yeah.
talked about him. Chatterer,
Totally.
Kinski. What was Nightbreed? He was Kinski.
Oh yeah.
Kind of moonface guy.
Yeah.
Jameson Newlander from Lost Boys.
Oh, he was cool. I liked him.
He was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
very
super
nice.
Cool. Lightning, James Pax.
You know what? Yes, because he's won me over with his Instagram. I would say yes, even though it's
I
Number one
think you
Lightning.
would just get the same interview over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun once we got it, but God,
Yeah.
it was a pain in the
Yeah.
ass. Michael Berryman. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
we would also. yes,
I'm so
Yeah,
sad I
absolutely.
couldn't make that one, but it was like a middle of the workday kind of thing. Jay,
Yeah.
I'm so glad because I met him already, but I didn't get a picture with him. And after talking to him and texting, and like, he's such a nice guy. So he's going to be at FrankenCon next year. So I get my picture with him.
Yeah, he's the face of FrankenCon. He's
As
like
it
on
should
all
be.
the posters. Yeah.
Very cool.
And kudos to you, Jay, for reading his whole autobiography and making that the basis of your one-on-one interview with him, because I think that totally floored him.
I think that, here's my thing. Whenever we talk to people, I always want to be respectful, but I also know how to play the game. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like, he just came out with this book. It's all he's really talking about. I know that's what he wants to talk about. But I also know if I rope him in with that, he'll let me talk about other stuff too. So I already had the book because I liked the guy so much. I was fascinated by his story. But I knew that's what he wanted to talk about. So that's the one I talked about. I'm leaving at work at 1:00 on a Wednesday, and coming to interview him.
Now, I
he
thought
was
you handled
great.
that really well, and that was one of the better interviews.
Thank you. Michelle Bauer. That was another good one.
Yeah, she was good.
Yeah.
Y'all
cool.
did not think that was going to be cool.
We had our
And it
doubts.
was.
We had our doubts.
She's
She's
cool.
a very nice lady.
Yeah, she was great.
Cool.
Matt, Jeff, and David from Uncle Peckerhead.
Yes.
Oh, they were
chat.
great.
Yeah,
Um,
they were awesome.
David has become family for me since he was in town, and he messaged me like, "Hey, you want to get breakfast? I'm in Nashville." I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah." Like of course
They were all cool.
we went and had breakfast. He was wonderful. Yeah, we have all of them on once again. Decisive one, Ben Rittenhouse.
He's my bud. I mean, y'all can think what you want to. I'm
Now,
gonna
if
use
you're
him in my
not
movies.
familiar with the name offhand, Ben Rittenhouse was on our Texas Chainsaw Massacre episode. If you remember that episode, it's one where someone said that X by Ty West is a better movie than the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I stand by that, and I'm just going to go ahead and say I don't want to go to hell, but if I do, I hope I drive the bus that picks Ben Rittenhouse up. So this is the first face he sees as he rots in hell.
Wow.
Wow, man.
Wow.
I mean,
that went hard.
I don't know.
So that's a no for me.
if it ends up being an argument like last time, I'd be there to watch it. Sure.
Yeah, but watch it with your camera off, like I would. Like share.
Right.
Let us talk. That's your 2 days. If you fail at one of those, we're gonna have issues. The Adams family, yes. Toby Poser and John Adams, we'd have them back anytime. Andrew Gower, from Monster Squad. That was another one. And like John, it's like you're my boyfriend on the show. I'm like, I'm gonna get this guy because I know John loves the Monster Squad. He was great. He was fun.
He's great, and because of that, we're trying to get a showing in 2025 of Monster Squad at the Belcourt now.
It's got to happen now.
Yeah. He was another one that's kind of hard to nail down, but I finally did it. Jill Six, because I can't say her real last name.
Cool.
Jafar Gizjian.
She was super cool.
Writer, director, the stylist. Has anyone else seen her new movie, Ghost Game?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Nah. So I feel like it's one of those indie movies that's been hyped. Shouldn't be as hyped as it is. I'm not saying it's a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not what I thought it was, and I wouldn't watch it again, I don't think.
Yeah.
PJ, edit that forward and says it's a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination.
What?
I said edit it so that it sounds like you said that's a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination.
No. It was fine. I'll say that. That was our last guest. She was our last one we had. But we've all had fun with all of them. Let's kind of wrap things up. So the origin story is kind of anticlimactic. I touched on that earlier, but Kelly and I already had a podcast. John and I had become Facebook friends. TJ and I have known each other for a very long time. So like TJ, I didn't realize was in horror movies. John and I started this horror page on Facebook because the other one was just dildos.
You knew I was into horror movies when we worked at Walmart together because we used to talk about horror movies.
Maybe. I don't remember that. That was a blur of a time.
The Tennessee Horror Club.
You were on a lot of drugs at the time.
It was a joke, and that's why we started that other page. Yeah.
I also like that I just said, Kel and I had a podcast together, not that we've been friends since 2003. But I just wanted an outlet, and I'm like, Weirdos, which was Kellen and I's podcast, that was a multiple award-winning podcast, was fun. We would just pick a topic and then we would just shoot the shit. We brought Rodney in. He helped us with the sound, talked, added a little dynamic to it. So we already knew kind of how to do a podcast. And like doing a horror movie podcast would be fun, but again, it was just for an outlet. Just so guys,
I had already done 2 podcasts too. And so I kind of knew how to do the Zoom thing and make it a lot easier. So
and
that just was
look at us now. Look at us now. But we all just came together in this group. I actually, Kellen, I was like, I think I want to do a horror movie podcast. And he's like, I'm in. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know he was going to jump on that quick. So, but
I'm down for everything.
You bring such a fun dynamic to the show just because you are the guy who hasn't seen shit.
And has like massively varying opinions that surprise everyone.
And he's the epitome of you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain.
He lives just long enough. But we just came together, and like I said, it just kind of grew. Like we had a few friends, and it just got a little bigger. We're not big by any means, but I'm very happy with where we are.
Hey, we have tens of thousands of plays in a couple of years.
Thousands. But we got a lot of good stuff lined up. Next week, I think, is Alien Romulus.
Nice.
Which does not have TJ.
I still haven't seen that one yet either.
And then we're going to do our Thanksgiving episode, which will be Thanksgiving. And then I don't remember after that. But before we go, one of the other features we kind of added, by we mean Kellen, was Kellen's Fast 5 questions. So anytime we have, I don't think you've done it with our friends of the show. You've just done it with the guest. You just ask them 5 random questions, ask them to, say what the answer first comes to their head. It's a lot of fun. We need to make a graphic for it. But I thought it would be fun if you did that for us tonight. So you have prepared a
Kellen's Fast 5. Sorry, Leatherface.
for us 3. So Kellen's going to present us with 5 questions, and we're going to answer the first thing that comes to our minds, although that probably won't necessarily be true because I'm kind of scared myself. So Kellen, when you're ready.
All right. So Kellen's Fast 5 quick questions. First thing to pop into your head. Question number 1. Are y'all ready?
No.
Well, here we go. Of the following, which franchise's main villain do you think you could survive? Saw, Terrifier, or the Collector?
The Collector.
I think I could stand Jigsaw.
I hate to say this, even though I own both of these movies, I know exactly where they are. I have yet to watch either The Collector or The Collection.
Oh, wow.
I know love both of them
so much. That's a red flag for Kellen, who hasn't seen a goddamn thing.
They're crazy, man. They're crazy.
I know that they started as Saw movies and then kind of morphed. And so I know they live kind of in that torture porny kind of weird universe. But so I can't speak to that one. So it was Saw, Collector, or who?
Terrifier.
I'm probably going to go with Saw because that dude's old. And if I can get out of his game, I could probably beat him up.
I don't know. I think you'd be screwed in Saw or Terrifier.
You just have to. No. Saw, you just got to be careful. You just
don't be a dick.
Yourself.
Don't be a dick to the guy with cancer.
Right.
And then you won't end up in his hell room.
All right. Next.
All right. If you could save one character from a horror film or series, who would it be? Somebody that died in a horror film and you're like, oh, I love that character. It could have been a series that you watched.
Jamie Kennedy, Scream 2. I love Jamie Kennedy's character.
Can I say someone I wish had died that didn't? So, quick sidebar. I made Lindsay watch all the Scream movies. We just watched the last one. I like this one a lot better than I thought I did when we did this episode. If I remember correctly, John hates it. It's not that bad, but three people at least, the brother and sister, Jamie Kennedy's characters, niece and nephew, and Courtney Cox, all should have died. They all survived. There was no reason for all of them to survive. So I yanked them back. But if I had to bring somebody back, it would be Franklin, and I would take him to your house for not like, yo, you son of a bitch.
I knew you were going to say Franklin.
I met the new Franklin in Return to Sleepaway Camp today, boys.
Oh, God. I would say Glenn from Nightmare on Elm Street, Johnny Depp's character. I thought he would have been cool to survive. I hate they killed him.
Yeah, and
he got a cool death, though.
Talk about Mandela effects. I thought that was the end of the movie. Like in my head, until I rewatched it recently, I thought it ended with him in the bed and then credits. But there's like a whole nother 20 minutes of movie. And I watched it again and I was like, oh, we're not done.
Right.
All right, number 3. If you could remove one horror film from existence, never happened, was never made, it could be part of a franchise.
Skinamarink. Skinamarink. Skinamarink.
What would it be?
No, Cannibal Holocaust. 100%. Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh,
I wish it never happened. I wish it didn't exist.
And the basis of this question, just for reference, is I was thinking about John and how he had talked about there's certain movies, and I couldn't remember the specific one where he was like, it's just so bad I didn't, within a franchise. And that's what spurred this question. Like, would you remove a movie from a franchise that you thought didn't fit or was gross? But apparently Cannibal Holocaust. But that makes sense for you.
There's a film that's this debatable about whether it's horror or not, but it has a lot of horrific images. I've not watched it all the way through, but I've seen bits and pieces of it. It was thought to be lost for years. In fact, the director who made it got death threats, and I do believe he was ultimately killed and had some legal things happen to him along the way because he was a foreign director for making this film and the legacy of this film. And it's called Salò. 100 Days of Sodom.
Yeah. I've wanted to watch that. I know I messed up, but still.
The Criterion Collection, it was thought to be lost for years. Criterion Collection dug it up, restored it, put it out into the universe. It has a scene called The Feast of Shit, if that doesn't tell you anything. It was vulgar for the sake of being vulgar for no reason.
For me, sounds like Human Centipede 2.
It's definitely a tie. It's Cannibal Holocaust, but also the original Last House on the Left, I feel like is just so I just know so much about that movie, what it did behind the scenes to some people, and I don't know. Not a fan. I would take it away.
Y'all remember Kellen has seen I Spit on Your Grave 3?
Yes.
Crazy.
That just came to my head.
All right, moving on. Number 4. Who is the most iconic horror antagonist not named Michael, Jason, or Freddy? And a hush falls across the crowd.
It'd have to be Leatherface, right?
Art.
That's like the other one.
Or
Art
Ghostface, Art the Clown. There's also Pinhead.
Norman,
a whole Universal Monsters catalog.
Norman Bates. I don't know.
Ooh.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Wait, you said iconic
antagonist, not named Michael, Jason, or Freddy.
So I would say iconic, not my favorite. Iconic, I think it's Leatherface or Ghostface.
Ghostface, 100%.
It probably is Ghostface because that mask is like in every dollar store.
Yeah, I would say Ghostface. You stick with Norman Bates, Johnny?
Norman Bates. Yeah, I'd go with that.
All right. Last question. Bringing it home. One review you wish you could go back and change from a previous episode. Good or bad?
Well, the problem is I'm not going to remember, and I also like everything. But like I said earlier, I think the last Scream movie, I think I gave a lower rating, and after watching it again, I do enjoy it. Besides Everybody Surviving, that's me for now.
Definitely Halloween, the original. It's a 5-star movie, and I gave it 4.5 like a douche.
And you were still trying to be cool.
I know, and it probably Terrifier 2. I think it's better than I gave it credit for. Maybe a half a point or a point higher. So
I'll take it.
I think I shit on Terrifier 2 more than it probably deserves at the time because it's objectively it's not my bag. I've seen all 3 of them at this point. It's not really my thing.
Hey,
I know it's Kellen and Jay's thing. I respect that. I respect what
Jay called it a comfort film.
I mean, I don't get that.
House of a Thousand Corpses and
I'm like,
Terrifier 2.
Are you okay, Jay?
No, I am very deeply disturbed, and I am okay admitting it.
He's who the Black Parade was about.
Well, we have 2 more people we can ask you we would have back according to my records. Dr. Gangrene.
I love Dr. Gangrene.
No.
He didn't share.
He didn't share anything.
John's face was so stone cold.
He didn't share shit. He shares everybody else's stuff. He never shares our stuff. No.
That's surprising to me.
That's a no.
And I'm not the only person that feels this way in the area either.
Isn't he on our or did he not actually join our Facebook group?
I don't know if he's in there or not, honestly.
Oh, he might not have joined.
He broke the first rule of Horror Club. Share. Share is caring.
Share.
Sorry.
And then, what was the guy who did the Beyond the Black Rainbow?
Shahan.
Shining. Yeah, I wouldn't have him back either.
No.
I think he should.
Really? Why don't you expound on that profound thought you have?
I'm not smart enough.
I don't think we live on the right hipster existence for that guy.
Let me make it as realistic as possible. Hey, why don't you talk about how you think how that made you feel when you watched it.
His lights did go out while he was talking to us, but no, it's been fun. We can wrap it up. We've already told you what's coming up. We appreciate you guys listening, watching. Definitely more people watch than listen, and we have faces for radio, so I don't know why.
Right.
Thanks.
Bunch
Follow us
of
on Instagram.
middle-aged,
What?
bunch of middle-aged dudes.
We have one bald person, one person who can see without glasses, and everyone has facial hair.
That is visually accurate.
All right. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to wherever you're listening to this podcast. Follow us on Instagram. Follow our group on Facebook. Come back next week, and we'll see you soon. Gentlemen, it's been fun. Yeah, let's keep going for a while.
Here's to the next 100.
Season 3.
Hey.
All right, signing off. I'm Jay with John, Kellen, and Travis, Joshua Stone. And until next time,
Keep it spooky.
I just used your God-given name, boy.
You did.
His Christian name.
Sometimes I even forget my name is Travis, to be honest with you.
I do too.
Like, no one ever calls me Travis.
I spelled my middle name wrong because I never use it.
How many people?
What
do you
is
think
your middle
actually-
name?
Wayne. But I
Wayne?
spelled it Wanye, and my wife was like, "That's not how you spell Wayne." And I was like, "It
Wanye?
should be. That's how it's my name. I should know how to." I looked at it. I was
That's
like,
your
"Oh,
rapper
Wanye
name.
West.
Wanye Lee.
Wanye least.
We'll see how many people. You
Sounds
think
like
actually,
a Wu-Tang Clan.
How many people you actually think stick around after the ending? You think anybody really sticks around? All right, we're gonna go through the guests, the people we've had, and see if we'll have them back. If you're listening, Lena.
Yes,
Yeah, of course.
She's
Lena's
like
Lena's
honorary
famous
member.
she's
She is
the
the
sixth
honorary
Beatle.
member. Yeah,
She's great.
absolutely. Yeah,
Jaren.
who
Sure.
Yeah, he was cool.
Jaron.
Is that
Jaron's
true?
cool.
I wasn't on that show, but he seems nice. I like him.
was he the guy in the car?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy in the
Okay,
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely, yeah.
yeah, he's cool. I like him.
The Franken Conboys.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
yeah,
cool
sure.
shit. They're,
One of
they're
them shares
they're
my
letting
name.
Me, they're letting me program like a whole room for FrankenCon next year.
Oh, they
That
still
has-
got time. They still got time back out of that.
That's true.
Andy Mahoney. He was good.
Andy.
He's my old pastor. He's
Andy
cool.
Mahoney.
Oh, yeah, he
knock
had
at the
he had all
cabin.
the cool
He was
stuff.
nice.
Yeah, knock at the cat.
He's a
nice
good
dude.
guy. I liked him. Yeah, yeah.
He's a hipster.
Yeah.
Nash.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
nice.
I would have
he's
Nash
cool.
on.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
good.
he was cool.
Steven from the Nearly Deads.
Yeah,
He's cool. I liked him.
Was he,
He was
the
the Jaws
guy?
episode, right?
Okay, yeah, he was nice.
Jaws. Yeah. Dr. Gangrene.
I still
But-
say yes.
The lady TJ.
only because y'all
Nearly
look the same.
Deads.
Yeah, although I
Oh,
will
yeah,
say I disagreed with so many of her opinions on Silence of the Lambs. Like, I
Oh,
was like, I
yeah.
don't think we watched the same movie.
He was Silence of the Lambs. That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She was nice though.
Yeah,
She's
sweet.
very nice. She's also nice in person.
Spoken Nerd. Remember him in that wonderful film called Men, where TJ gave me the
Yeah.
soundbite. I love men.
Oh yeah.
I still love men.
I don't really remember.
Which one's the
them,
better
but,
TJ
yeah.
soundbite? I love men or semen?
See.
That was a good one.
Was
Wait,
that
when
the
did I say semen?
voyage of the?
You're like,
the,
you even lean for you're like, semen? Like it's a
Semen?
mystery. Like you had a monocle, semen.
semen, you say?
Spoken Nerd. I think we
Yeah,
had him back.
he was
It's
cool.
fun. Krista Ladd.
Absolutely,
that?
100%.
Who's
Right.
that?
She was
Jones-
the only interview that one of us was present for.
Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I was
yeah,
sitting
yeah.
Oh,
beside
She was
her
cool.
during the interview.
Yeah, yeah.
My
She's
my
Oh yeah,
ex-girlfriend.
your friend. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
She was nice.
She's the one who introduced Kellen and I, so she's to blame for this. Jason Shawhan, I think we already said that. Molly Marie Kent from Omenbringer.
I'd say no.
I'd
That's
say
a coin
mid.
flip.
She
Nothing
kinda-
against her, but she was just very.
Yeah. she kind of had a. She's kind of abrasive a little bit, but I don't
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abrasive's a good
Drahoon.
word. Pass.
know. Who?
Count Drahoon.
I'll Taylor's my bud. I'm gonna say yeah.
Kellen already
Just
said
say
that.
pass because I just say pass because it was another one of those that was just kind of like me.
He's a
What
nice
movie?
dude though.
I think the
And he
persona
knows
doesn't
his
do it
he
for
knows
me.
his film trivia. So
What movie did we talk about with him? I can't remember.
Suitable Flesh.
Suitable flesh. Yes.
Which Kellen
yes.
hated, and
I did.
And I was a
And
dick.
then
I'm
Jay
like,
called me
"Hey,
out
Barb."
in front of Barb. He's like, "Hey, nice to meet you. I'm a huge fan. He hated your movie," and I was like, "What the?"
I do feel bad about that to this day. That was a dick move. I love you, Barb, so much. Blake
Speaking
Babson.
of Barbara Crampton things, though, I think in terms of episodes and movies that surprised me the most, Onyx the Fortuitous, I was probably the most surprised
Oh yeah, that's a good
of first watch films.
I would love to get him on. I
I
think he would
might.
be
I've
a
tried.
trip.
I've tried so hard, so hard.
That movie was so good, I bought it. And y'all know about my
Same.
keeping
I got
of
the
movies.
Blu-ray.
It's crazy.
Blake Babson.
Wait, Blake was
Yeah.
the producer friend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was nice. I liked him. Yeah.
What
he was
movie?
good.
What movie we did the Invitation? with?
Invitation, yes.
And that's another
Yeah,
movie
he
that
was
I had
cool.
seen and loved, and I was excited for you guys to watch that because I love that movie.
I enjoyed it though. That wasn't
Man.
one that I shit on.
God, we've had a lot
John
of-
did. John didn't like the ending. It was the lantern thing.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fucking guests. I'm like, I have a hard time remembering a lot. Of these.
I
Some of
forgot
these
Blake
repeat
was on.
Shit, man.
I think we've
I-
had
Yeah.
more guests than pure review episodes at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Well,
think so.
these are also guests, so usually with the guests, they just come on to talk about a movie.
Well, Blake will probably come on again because
nice. I like
eventually
him.
he's
Yeah.
going to be one of the guys that helps me get some movies made. So
Last but not least, Adrian from Scarefest.
Yeah,
She's
she was
cool.
fun.
she was
She's cool,
nice.
yeah.
I wasn't on that episode, but she was nice.
I think she would be a good one to do a specific movie on,
Yeah.
just because she does seem like she has a pretty good repertoire of knowledge.
Yeah.
I
She
don't know
knows
if
stuff.
I'll go back to Scarefest because it's so far, but she's cool. I mean, they're nice. It's so far away. You know?
I will say all the Facebook drama from that kind of put a sour taste in my mouth, especially reading about how they were overwhelmed with guests or visitors and they had to turn people away. And it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
I think it's just gotten so big that they're having management growth, growing pains.
Yeah.
Speaking of growing pains, Jay shared Eli Roth being at
I saw
that HorrorCon that was in
free
Gatlinburg and then
shout-outs.
Pigeon Forge, and then they sent it to Kingsport, Tennessee, the middle of nowhere. You know what's close to Kingsport? Roads to leave Kingsport. That's it. There's nothing else there.
Do you know
I
who
don't even
lives?
know if Kingsport has a Walmart.
Dick Warlock lives in Kingsport.
That's
He
right. He
Let's
does.
go
He
find
would.
him.
Yeah, he actually. So a friend of mine met him and actually ended up gaming with him on Xbox for a while.
What?
Yes,
Dick
he's a
Warlock
game-
games
yes.
on Xbox?
He went to dinner with him at like a local restaurant there. So
Did he realize who it was, or did he think it was like some kid that was trolling him? You Dick Warlock.
No, he just like made a butt out of him. So I've tried to. It's hard to find him. I've emailed him. It's just hard to get him because he's old.
I've
so-
had one Facebook Messenger exchange with an account that claims to be the real Dick Warlock, but says he has no way to be able to prove it, but he is legit. Take that for what you
You
will.
can't take a picture with a newspaper like everyone in every movie ever that has to prove who they are.
Yeah.
I have another disappointment that's not Kellen related. Bose Vinson.
Oh,
Oh,
It all-
yes. I prepared
watched
for that.
I did too. I watched so many of his films.
I did too. Not great films for the most part.
No, Primal Rage was my favorite out of all his.
oh yeah, yeah.
My favorite was his Dan Curtis TV adaptation of Frankenstein where he played the monster. I think that was his best thing. But he was such like on board with the thing. He even brought in one of his people that books things. We had the date. We all showed up, and then we just ended up having a plan B. I don't know what we ended up talking about, but I had multiple pages of notes. You know me. I don't prepare for these things. I just know a bunch of random shit from watching movies all my life. And I waited on those notes. I didn't throw away those notes until like a year after.
Just in the
man,
hope.
Just in the hope. But, after he ghosted us, I was like, you're dead to me, Bo Svensson. You're dead to me. You still
You
got
see
your
this?
notes?
I still have my Bo Svensson notes in my desk drawer.
I had them in my desk drawer until like 6 months ago.
But it's like you've been involved with over 120 films and television series, which include Inglourious Bastards, The Walking Tall franchise, Kill Bill 2, Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker, Delta Force, and many, many more. Still got them.
Man.
And you know what he can't put on his IMDb? The Horror Sanctum podcast.
That's
So,
Dang.
true. By God.
Yes,
I mean, he kind of was a dick to me. He did get me on the phone and talk to me for an hour and then made me get on the computer and send him a script just so he could tell me that I didn't know fuck all about screenwriting.
What a nice guy.
What a character.
Bo Swelson, am I right?
Right.
Swell. Like he's swell. All right. I'm gonna go eat some dinner. This was fun.
That's fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Nice retrospective.
So
Yeah.
When do we record again?
that's what I was gonna say. We just need to figure that out sometime. There's
And
no
it's
rush.
Thanksgiving, right? The movie.
Thanksgiving.
Oh,
It's got my
yeah.
steelbook in.
Yeah, we need to talk about
Who
that
hasn't seen
because
Thanksgiving? Have you seen it, Kellen?
I own
Okay,
it.
you saw it. Okay, I couldn't.
I saw it like twice in the theater. I am out of town the 20th through the 25th for my anniversary. Just FYI.
Well, we could maybe even do double duty next week, depending on when Brea can do it. So
Yeah, next week would be better.
Sounds
yeah,
good.
I mean that's fine.
Bria Grant, she was in The Stylist, right?
Yes, I just started the 5th season of Dexter where she's in it. Oh my god, she's so. It's.
I
stupid.
never watched the last season of the original Dexter. I made it through the one with Julia Stiles in it. I
Yeah.
think.
That's
was
where
the
I
next one.
stopped because I heard the ending was so bad. It was
It's
so
weird.
disappointing.
It's
odd.
okay. Yeah,
And
But
they
then
did
they
a
brought it
remake.
back for like a season, didn't they?
yeah. They brought her back.
Who watched Shrinking season 2? Has anyone seen that?
Is that the one that just came out?
Yes.
No, I haven't watched. We haven't.
That I don't know what the fuck they did. It's like the characters are just so like it's not good.
Watch Grotesquerie if you want to get pissed off.
Hadn't seen
The
that one.
Ryan Murphy show. The first 6 episodes are fucking amazing. And
Yeah.
then he does what he always does, and he flips it. And it.
Uh,
I mean, the first.
else has
you
he
know
done?
those- Huh?
What else has he
Grotesquerie?
done?
He did Scream
American Horror
Queens.
Story. All those.
Oh, okay, yeah. American Horror Story always starts so strong, and then there's
So
always
this
that
show
one
does the
episode where
same
you're just
thing.
like,
He is
"Wah."
not a finisher. He cannot finish, and it makes me so mad. You know those memes you see where it's like a horse with fire, all the different entries to a movie franchise, and then one of them sucks, and it's got like the drawing of the horse. That's how this show is, and it ends that way. I would give the first 6 episodes 4.5 stars. It felt like Hannibal, but more religious. I'm like,
Yeah.
I was digging it, and then the last 3 episodes, I would give a 1.5, 2. I was
that
so.
sucks.
I haven't been this pissed over a series in a long time.
I will
Since
say,
probably his freak show season of American Horror Story when it flipped in the middle, and then they fucking started singing Nirvana in the 30s or whatever year it was.
I will
I've
say the
only
very
watched 2
first season,
seasons.
the very first season of American Horror Story is almost flawless. That start to
Yeah.
finish is so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The haunted house with the weird SD
With Dylan McDermott.
S&M.
I think
Yeah.
the monster shows are honestly even better, like the ones like the Menendez and the OJ.
yeah, they're good too.
Those are
I
always
liked
really good.
my favorite American Horror Story season that I watched start to finish was the 80s throwback that had like
The slasher.
satanic
Yeah,
slasher.
but
I wanted
they-
to like that one more than I did, but I it didn't do much.
But like
for me.
Richard Ramirez, what the fuck? What did they?
Covenant
what was
is the
that?
best season, I think.
Like-
Covenant 3.
I
Witch season.
enjoyed season 5, Hotel, with Lady
Hotel-
Gaga. I
Yeah.
thought that was a neat little twist with the idea of H.H. Holmes,
Oh,
coming
yeah.
back.
Uh,
And
Has
Evan
anybody-
Peters is amazing in everything.
So has
he
anybody
ever
watched
touches.
Agatha All Along yet?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Is he in that?
Barely.
Oh.
It was
Is he?
good.
Did he just zoom past
No,
since he's
no.
Quicksilver?
It was good, and seeing Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza kiss was fun. That was nice. I like
If-
that a lot.
If you don't watch X-Men Apocalypse, just watch the scene where he saves everybody at the mansion. That's like
That's
the
so
only.
good.
That's so awesome when he does that little thing.
I've seen
Yeah.
that clip where he runs in while it's exploding and he's
Yeah.
pulling everybody out and he's doing wall runs. Yeah,
They
Th-
did
that-
Quicksilver so much better than MCU did. Like, God.
that's universally accepted that he is Quicksilver, and
Yeah.
whoever they had in the MCU was just terrible.
Who was it?
It
He's
was
been in,
Aaron Johnson, Kick Ass, Craven,
yeah,
that's
which
right.
is
Yeah.
going to be
With his-
terrible.
bleach blonde hair and beard.
Bullet Train, he was great in Bullet Train though.
He was great in Bullet Train. That's
Bullet Train is one of those movies
a
I
4.5
didn't have
at
any
least.
expectations. I'm like, this will be fun. I'm like, I love this movie.
If you haven't seen Bullet Train, it's fantastic.
Oh,
Brad
it's-
Pitt is amazing in it, and everybody else as well.
I
the
still
director
haven't
of the
seen
f-
it, but
it's
it's
the
on
dir-
my to-do list.
The Fall Guy, it's the same director. Yeah.
Oh, I love the Fall Guy.
I think
Bullet
that's
Train's
the-
better
Bullet
than
Train's
Fall Guy.
better. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to say that.
Wow,
No,
really?
no. Yeah, absolutely. Bullet Train. So imagine if you
I
took
haven't
all
seen
the
Bullet
best
Train yet,
parts of
so-
Fall Guy and make that whole movie of just the best parts. That's what Bullet
Well, I love
Train
Fall
is.
Guy.
It just
It's
doesn't
got a little
stop.
Tarantino in it too. It's very
Yeah.
Tarantino and Ennio, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tarantino-esque, as they say.
Tarantini. All right, I'm out
All right.
Next time you see me, this should be back to normal. So
in 2 days.
Yeah, werewolf.
Werewolf, motherfucker.
Peace.